What I want to talk about today is some of the scandals that's been going on with the NBA bubble. It seems like it hasn't been a good start. There's been many scandals, many different things going on that has made for a rocky start. And I just want to go through them because I feel like there's a lot that's going on and I'm even having trouble keeping track of everything. So the first thing I want to talk about is the SNITCH hotline, which has been a word that I've been seeing all over the place, and I guess I'll just explain it first. So basically, the NBA set up a way that players could anonymously snitch on their other teammates or other players' personnel that's in the Disney bubble for not abiding by by quarantining, by distancing rules, social distancing rules, wearing a mask, which is required on all parts of the bubble, things like that. If they're not abiding by it, a player could anonymously report them. And that was just for the safety of everyone. Some players have been pretty vocal about not snitching on their other teammates. Spencer did what he said, don't snitch on anyone.
Any words for anybody in the bubble?
Yeah, to all my fellow NBA players, don't call the snitch hotline. Don't cross the line to get Postmates. Don't fly LA work out. And last but not least, the Brooklyn Nets are coming for you. That's the way it works.
Don't use the NBA hotline. There's other players that have been talking about it. In my opinion, it makes zero sense. The snitch line is to make it a safe environment. Wear a mask. Just follow the rules. The rules are set up for their safety. There's no other reason that the rules are in place. If they're not going to follow the rules and put everyone else at risk, they deserve to be called out on that. They deserve to be snitched on. And I know the whole thing about not snitching on your friends or things like that, but that's just dumb in this case. Specifically this case, and in a lot of other cases, but specifically for what I'm talking about, they're risking everyone's health because they can't, in Dwight Howard's case, who's one of the players I've been calling out, can't wear a mask, which I still don't understand at all. Like, I don't understand at all the idea of not snitching on people that are putting everyone else at risk. The NBA is trying to do something, trying to get the season back going, trying to get some normalcy back into life. And these players, because they just don't want to follow rules, are putting everyone at risk. And then there's players that don't want to use the snitch line because they don't want to disrespect their friends. Simply dumb. So that's the snitch hotline, which has been a pretty major thing that's been coming out. The next thing I want to talk about is the little food scandals. So a lot of players have been, once again, vocal about speaking out, not only about the food at the NBA bubble, but also about the living situations. The first major one was Rajon Rondo when he got to his hotel. He put out Instagram post where he basically took a picture of the Disney hotel and compared it to a Motel 6. I don't understand how someone could be so far off from reality. I'm gonna get to the major point at this when I go over everyone, but so far off from reality to complain about a hotel room. Like, specifically a Disney hotel room. If you've been to Disney, you know they're not terrible hotel rooms. J.R. Smith, Joel Embiid are two players that have been highlighted for complaining about the meals that they're being offered. J.R. Smith, I think, did an Instagram Live and he showed that he was eating Velveeta mac and cheese where you pour water and heat it up, complaining about that. And Jay Williams said it best, who's a reporter for ESPN, basically saying, paraphrasing, but saying, players are being tone deaf to the situation at large. People are struggling to just live. These players are getting paid to be in this environment. They have a roof over their heads. It's not like their living situation is that bad. They're living in a Disney hotel. Disney hotels are made to be pretty high-end hotels. It's not a Motel 6 at all. And the fact that Rajon Rondo would say that is just so not understanding what the world's going through right now. Like, there's a pandemic, there's people losing their jobs every day. These people are getting paid to play basketball, paid millions of dollars. I'm sorry, you can eat Velveeta mac and cheese for a few days. And first off, it's always bothered me how much sports players get paid, and I'm sure it bothers a lot of people, but when they act like spoiled brats, that just bothers me even more. Even if you're trying to be funny or anything, it's really not funny, in my opinion. I'm sure that's for a lot of people. The third thing I wanted to speak about are some of the players that have already broken quarantine. There's been two players that have broke quarantine, kind of for interesting reasons. So Bruno Caboccio, who's Houston Rockets forward, and Sacramento Kings center Richaun Holmes broke quarantine. Holmes broke quarantine because he was going to get a Postmates order and he didn't realize it was outside the NBA bubble. Whether that's true or not, he didn't know, not sure, but he's now quarantined for 8 days. And then once the players arrived, there was a self-quarantine for 7 days, and Cabaccio, he said, inadvertently left his room during that time. So that's why he's self-quarantining. In these two cases, they're not the worst reasons that they broke quarantine. It's not like the stupidest things like they went out to party or something. The next thing I want to talk about, so apparently an Instagram model received an invite to go to one of the players' hotels. It's being reported that it was Donovan Mitchell. Who knows if that's true? It hasn't been confirmed or anything. But the Instagram model, Anna Maya, basically claimed that she received an invitation to go to the NBA bubble, even though you're not allowed to have visitors yet. I think you're allowed to have visitors for the second round of the playoffs, I think. It hasn't been confirmed whether this is an actual thing that happened. She could have just said it. The last thing I want to talk about, which was definitely the major scandal of the beginning to this NBA bubble. So ESPN host Rachel Nichols was secretly recorded in her hotel room. Let me explain the situation. So Rachel Nichols hosts the NBA Jump on ESPN. She's the host of it, and they had set up in her room a way for her to broadcast the show. So they have a feed to her room. Someone, they're thinking it has to be an ESPN worker, was able to record her speaking when she wasn't doing the show, and they recorded the recording. So they got a cell phone conversation. It wasn't like her face or anything, it was just the conversation. It was supposed to show her as a backstabber and just like a bad person, which it's backfiring on the person that sent it because they're gonna find out who did it. But it reminds many people of the Erin Andrews situation that happened a few years ago. She was like recorded nude in her hotel room, which was a major scandal and something that's very scary that things like this can happen. I mean, it could have been much worse, which I'm happy wasn't that, because that's such an invasion of privacy. And I wonder how they're gonna go about broadcasting NBA The Jump, like how they're gonna fix that situation. That was sad to read that something like that happened. Luckily, it was only a cell phone conversation, but such an invasion of privacy, and that was like the first thing I saw as a controversy coming out of the NBA bubble, and then more things started to flood in. Basically, the conclusion to that is that the phone conversation was supposed to be a way to sabotage Rachel Nichols. It's turning out to sabotage the person that sent it in. I don't think Deadspin's using it, but that's really it for all the NBA bubble situation. Hopefully, these controversies start to calm down and they can just focus on basketball. I have a feeling that the animosity to the snitch hotline is going to continue to spread. People using it, who's getting reported on, things like that. It should be interesting how this proceeds, because it would really suck if this impedes on the focus of basketball being back, which I'm sure everyone's excited for. That's really it. Thanks for watching.